Welcome to Made in Spain, the show that takes you past the postcards.
We are two friends who live here, absolutely love it, and can't stop pulling at the threads of what makes this country tick.
I'm Nalini.
And I'm Laura.
And every week we go past the flamenco cliches and the tourist maps, tourist traps.
Into the food, the design, the festivals, and the people who make this place unforgettable.
One story, one flavor.
One episode at a time.
So pour yourself something good and
come along with us.
Yay. So Laura, today we're calling it the triple O.
Yes, the triple O. That sounds pretty interesting.
That's what
Olive oil obsession.
Yes. So let's talk about where we went.
Yay.
Okay. So the town itself is called.
You can do it. Do it.
Goodness. Reyu.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She did it.
It's actually really hard to say because
it's
when
the "eu" at the end.
And it is almost impossible for a non-native speaker to kind of have that sound phonetically, because in English
you don't finish any word with "eu."
No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't exist.
Right.
So it's difficult. So I apologize if I say it incorrectly.
No problem.
But we did drive up. Laura did the driving. It's a bit of a windy drive from where we are. It is, what would you say, about 10, 15 kilometers from the sea, but in the interior?
Yes. So 10 kilometers exactly from the sea.
Okay.
If you were to go in a straight line
and
fly over everything. But yeah, it's 10 kilometers. It is, like Nalini said, it is a windy road, but it's definitely safe and worth it.
Okay. So we went up there and we visited this olive oil producer. Would you like to say the name?
Señoríos de
Reyu.
There you go. See, by the end of this, she's going to have it perfect. She's going to have dreams about Reyu.
We also had early morning breakfast in the little town. So we supported local.
Yes.
We should get a point for that. Even though if I mispronounce the town's name.
Cookie point.
Yeah. Now, this is a really interesting project. It's a really interesting small company. And it was, I would say, a fantastic, fabulous experience. They are so hospitable.
Very kind.
Very kind. They welcomed us in. They do tours, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But first, we just want to talk about olive oil itself. It is I think if you were to think of the Mediterranean diet, the first thing that anybody would say, maybe outside of fish, for example, is olive oil.
I'm right there with fish. Because
exactly.
I think fish without olive oil, to me, is not even the Mediterranean diet.
Exactly. So this is, one of the oldest flowering fruit trees, in the history of the world.
And I actually felt very ignorant when we went, because even though we have visited olive oil farms before, and shout out to Macià Altet, which was actually like one of the first ones that we visited, I never realized that olive trees have so many flowers on them.
Do you know what? I was about to ask him, how do olives actually grow? Because I don't recall seeing flowers on the tree. I literally was about to ask him that question. And then he's like, look, here are the trees when they're flowering. And I thought, oh, you know what? Whenever they flower, I don't know. But in my garden, the olive trees that we do have, you do kind of see little flower, but they're so tiny. And they have a very fast growing season.
They do. And the other thing that was very interesting about that is that he said that of all those flowers, only 3% turn into olives.
This is, to me, when you go to a place such as this and you learn about where something comes from, something that anywhere in the world, olive oil is prized, extra virgin olive oil. You consume it. But when you see what it takes to actually make a bottle of olive oil,
a good one,
a good high quality bottle of olive oil, it gives you a whole new respect for kind of just like pouring it on your whatever or using it just willy-nilly in the kitchen. It gives you a completely different appreciation of the amount of work and really engineering.
Yes.
That goes into something that you just take for granted, that you can go to any supermarket and pick it up.
Exactly. I think it also makes you more willing to pay the price because you understand the effort.
Yeah.
you understand the investment behind it, and you understand that if things go wrong, they lose the production.
And historically, did you know that when olive trees died, like when you look at the history of Europe or even parts of the world where olive trees are native to, when olive trees died or they were burned, those civilizations also
burned down.
Yes.
Wow.
And had to start from scratch.
Ooh, makes my hair stand.
Right. So you think like this is part of the fabric of not just Spain, but huge swaths of Europe. And I know every country will argue who has the best olive oil. Some will say it's Turkey, Italy, Israel, Palestine,
I appreciate all olive oils. I'll just put it out there. If they're high quality, well produced. Same thing with wine. It's not something like I've tried great olive oils from different part of the world. So I just think we are very lucky to be able to see this process here.
Now, I just want to give you a little quick kind of historical fact. Thomas Jefferson wrote that the olive tree is the richest gift of heaven. And Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, they had traveled abroad and they tried to bring olive trees back to the southern United States, but it was too humid. And
really,
yeah, it could not grow. So he considered it to be one of the greatest things that he could have tried to plant in the Americas, in this new fledgling country at the time, was to grow olive trees, but it never took off.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I thought, it's even, it's just like it's tried to be extended throughout the world.
And there's so many relations as well with like if you see, olive branches in religion as well.
It's a symbol of peace.
Yes.
Right. So now we'll talk about our visit and what we learned from there. So do you want to talk a little bit about the history of the family and how they got started?
I found this very touching, and maybe both Nalini and I gravitate towards family run or family inherited businesses because it is so hard in today's age for people to actually say, I want to continue this legacy that my father or my mother, whoever it is, left. So Eliseo Quintanilla, who was Hugo's dad, was actually a pharmacist, which I found really interesting. And they had this project where they were trying to produce oleuropein. I'm sure I said that wrong.
It's a difficult word to say.
Yeah, and I think in Spanish it's oleuropeina. Okay. And it's a health compound that is concentrated in the olive leaves. Okay. So they had this, massive kind of land that they planted with olive trees. They were trying to do this project, and the project failed. Right. So they'd already planted thousands of trees. So then Hugo Quintanilla, who trained as an agricultural engineer, decided to then turn that effort into an olive oil tree farm, or an olive oil farm, you could say.
Yeah, I don't know if it's called a farm or an orchard or
I'm not actually sure, because when you say granja in Spanish, farm, like that's not what you picture. But he said farm, right? So I'm going to stick with farm, but I'm not exactly sure if it is an oil tree farm or how it's called. But basically, a production of olive oil with their end-to-end, basically manufacturing process right there.
Right, and what we learned about this particular type of olive oil is that they grow it, they harvest it, and they bottle it right there. It is not what you call a cooperative, where they don't take in other little farms in the area and package their olive oil and ship it out. It is absolutely all their hard work.
And that is unique. And that's one of the reasons they have an Italian machine that actually helps with the processing. Because normally here in Spain, unless you are a very big producer, one of the only ones that, very few of them actually have their own machine, where they don't do the cooperative or cooperative, where they actually take their olives to be processed at a different place because they don't have enough to justify having all this machinery. Right. So that's kind of unique. And I think what was also cool is the artwork. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have to talk about that. So now they've done this aluminum bottle, which we'll talk about in a second. But the Teoladi is sparrow in Valenciano.
Yes.
Right? So that's their emblem. And they have an artist from the Alicante area that she came out and kind of did like an immersive stay and then painted something that represents the story. So do you want to go through the bottle and
so
just show?
I have it
perfect.
here.
Okay.
It's the same thing that's on the bottle.
Okay.
But it's so pretty because it basically, in a very naive style, in a very kind of abstract way, represents the different layers of the finca where the olive oil is made. So you have the house, you have the different terrains, all the way down to the last bluebird that is the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah. So it's all represented by birds. It's actually it's very clever.
Very pretty.
It's beautiful. And I can't remember seeing bottles like this on a shelf somewhere.
No, I think they're very unique.
No, and it's very bespoke.
Yes.
So they use 5 different varieties. So they have the Manzanilla, Villalonga.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Blanqueta, Changol Real, Alfafara, and Genovesa, plus Arbequina.
Brilliant. That's not easy.
I'm trying, but they basically do they use the oils in different intensities and I guess, recipes to make their coupage. So whether it's the mild, medium, or intense, that varies with the types of olives that they use.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the most the interesting thing that you found?
I think the interesting thing that I found is that you can have this incredible commitment to sustainability while having a business that works. They had everything from insect hotels to little, houses for birds. So they've done this collaboration with the University of Jaén to make sure that their whole finca, the whole production is sustainable. So it's a great place for animals to prosper as well as the trees and the business. And I just found that super amazing.
And they're also really committed to using every part of the olive, because I asked him what happens after you extract the oil, what happens to the pulp and the seed. And they use it for compost. So nothing actually goes to waste. They take it, they compost it, and it gets put back onto the land. So it's completely fascinating how this is done. And other than obviously the automation and the machinery behind it, this has been done for thousands and thousands of years.
So that was the other thing that I found very interesting from our visit is he explained the whole cold press and pressed and centrifugation. And they showed us the pressing system that was used before.
Yeah.
And I remember standing out there and it was pretty hot, looking at all this and looking at all these massive stones. And he described how they would have donkeys before pulling the stones and how then people would just basically transport this mush up by hand to this other part of the machine.
Right.
And he said this was a very unhygienic process before. You got animals, you got people with their bare hands. So
also the pulp would rot basically and not smell very well. So imagine what the oil would actually taste like.
Exactly. So this was the olden way, and they have respected the steps, but obviously now it's a much more hygienic process and it's much better for the end product. So sometimes we have this, I think, romanticize, things are done the same way that it was done 100 years ago. Well, yeah, if you want to end up in the hospital, probably a good idea, but
salmonella or something, or I don't know, E. coli.
Exactly. So I like the way that they've modernized the process without taking the tradition out of it.
Okay. Now I did a little research, and these are 5 things to read on an olive oil label. Mm-hmm. And I suspected that they would actually cover this themselves, and they do. So you have to look for the harvest date. And I'm talking about a higher quality of olive oil, obviously not the standard one that you buy
in Mercadona
at the supermarket. And not to say anything against Mercadona. Maybe they do have higher end olive oil. I don't necessarily buy my olive oil from there, but you have to look not just for the year. You have to look for a month. Mm-hmm. So date and month. And the closer it is to when you actually buy it, the better quality, because it hasn't been sitting around for that long. So you have that. And I noticed on the bottle that I had, it said later harvest, and it was from March. The date is actually March 28th.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, they actually have a stamp on here that says 2026 when it was actually bottled.
Yes.
And I looked at some other quote unquote higher end bottles that I had at home. They only had a year. It didn't have a date. So I was like, oh, mind blown. I'm like this olive oil expert. I can read this. You have that. Exactly what we talked about. Cold pressed is a marketing term. So for anybody listening out there, cold press doesn't mean anything because he explained it. Ugo explained it very well. He said, think about this. You have all the olives or first pressed. You have all the olives and it's going into a machine.
It's not pressing.
But it's not even that. It doesn't matter if you come out first or last from that batch of olives. It's not like they're, it's just like only these ones go in first. And that's why you should pay more for it. They're all going into the same machine. However, they're jumbled around and the seeds taken out and pressed and the oil is coming out. Whether you're the first bushel or the last bushel is irrelevant. You're all going in the same machine. It's first harvest. So that is a huge distinction. If you want to pay more because you like the bottle, fantastic. But first press does not mean you should necessarily pay more. The other thing is acidity level, which I tried to understand it, but anything under, I think, 0.4%, somebody can correct me on that, is higher quality.
Okay.
That, the certification. So you have to look at where it originates from. And even if it says product of, you have to really read the whole bottle to see if it is a single source. So if it's from a particular farm and it doesn't say also packaged with olives from the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think those are the things. Maybe that wasn't 5, but yeah.
So it's already quite a lot to be looking at to understand the quality of the olive oil that you are having. And by the way, I think a lot more people look into this kind of detail when it comes to wine than when it comes to olive oil. But, as you consume more olive oil, you'll see you can tell a big difference. So I think that's, we have so much to say about Señoríos de Reyu, but I do think that kind of sums it up a little bit, but definitely encourage you to, if you're in the area, visit them. They do have some very beautiful tours that they do, as well as picnics that you can take there.
And we do have to talk about, if you want to just mention why the bottles are aluminum and not glass, because I don't know if it's the only olive oil producer that has aluminum bottles.
It must be one of the only ones, at least from Spain, because you don't see it that often.
No.
So first of all, there's some obvious reasons of differentiation from the other brands. Also, the branding that they can do on it is much prettier than if it's a glass bottle.
Right.
But it basically protects the olive oil more in terms of the potential heat, light or air getting into it. So would you mind passing me that pink bottle?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really important
beautiful
to mention as well. There is a very famous designer called Agatha Ruiz de la Prada. And she actually visited Señoríos de Reyu, and they did this collaboration where they came up with this bottle, and this, Nalini described, this is from the first day of harvest.
Yes.
And it's a very beautiful, great quality olive oil, and also something of a collectible.
Yeah.
So I love how creative they've been with this. So if you're not seeing this and you're just hearing it, it's a bright pink bottle, basically, of olive oil.
Yeah, it is really, just really, really fascinating. And of course, this particular olive oil producer, they have won numerous awards. There are just so many different awards that they have been given over.
I think within their first 2 years, they won the gold award for the competition that happens in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Which is amazing. For a newer olive oil. And then the other one I think that stood out was one of the top recognitions from a very big competition in Israel as well.
Yes. And also, I think it's very important to note that you can become an olive oil sommelier. And that is a very long, complicated process. It's not some little quick course you can take over a few months. It's very long and involved. I actually read the whole and it's very expensive.
Yeah. I think you said it was like 10,000 euros or something.
It's a very expensive, specialized program. But what I think if you were to pursue a career like that, you would end up working at maybe a very high-end hotel group or restaurant group to curate their olive oils for them.
That is a very specific job. So
Yeah.
if you are an olive oil sommelier, please write in
Feel
the comments.
free.
We'd
Reach
love
out.
to hear from you. So I think 2 worthy mentions that
Yes.
we have to do. Castillo de Canena.
Yes.
This is one of the best olive oils in Spain. And they were kind enough to send us their first day of harvest
Nice.
bottles.
I haven't opened mine yet.
You haven't?
No.
I pretty much use it on everything.
Oh,
It's
really?
like,
I haven't-
it's so delicious.
Oh, I haven't opened mine.
I have a hard time understanding how I'm going to go back to something else now because it is such a nice, and the difference I think between Castillo de Canena and Señoríos de Reyu, they do focus more on single olive. So for example,
okay.
Picual or Arbequina.
right.
This one specifically is Picual.
Okay.
And just a little bit of history that I thought is interesting from the Baño family. Rosa and Paco Baño left corporate careers, Coca-Cola, banking,
Wow.
to turn the family grove into a premium brand. And she is one of the only women that is in this space of olive oil production that is leading something like this.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, so she's one of the only women that is in this space. And again, very, very nice people. They were lovely and, sent these bottles. But one day we'll visit them. And I even saw that, again, they do have some very special editions with like oak smoked, amontadillo, sherry cask. So that gives the oil a special taste.
Okay.
And then they also have one that they do with plankton.
Plankton?
Yes.
Like from under the sea?
Sea.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
So they have some very unique things.
wow.
So same instinct as that, Señorío de Reyu, like special editions, something a little bit different.
And where are they located?
They are, I believe, they're south. I think it's
Okay.
Jaén, actually. Let me check one quick second.
Well, wherever they're located, I'm officially asking for an invitation.
yes,
So-
please.
We'd like a tour.
I think it's Jaén, which is also a big kind of
Yeah.
olive oil production. And then the other one, would you like to talk about Masia el Altet since it's been
Oh.
a while?
That was actually our first field trip. And where are they located? Oh my goodness.
So, goodness. Sierra Mariola
Yes.
near Alcoy.
Yes, again, another windy drive because I do believe that wherever you grow that many olive trees, you have to be away a
Yeah.
distance from the sea and sort of in the interior to be more protected.
Mm-hmm.
But that was our first interview that we ever did. We didn't know anything about anything. We just said, we're just going to go out there and ask some questions. And it's their family home. So they're not really open for tours.
They don't do tours. Yeah.
No, yeah, they do not do tours. It's their family business. And we kind of drove into which is a spectacular family compound. I mean, it's something out of a movie,
Yes.
that you would see. And we get there and, just like, should we knock on the front door? But they were just so lovely and very welcoming. And this is where we started to really learn and do a deep dive into just the things that interest us and that we try to share with people. So we thought, that was us just kind of scratching the surface, but why don't we actually go somewhere closer to our home and learn a little bit more. But what's very interesting is that both of these visits that we've done, what we've learned, because I said, where is your biggest market? And for most of these very bespoke olive oil producers, it is not within Spain or even Europe. So you have
Masia el Altet was Japan.
where he said their Japanese market, they want the most expensive bottles. So, and that's where they have huge consumption. And also
South Korea.
South Korea.
Señoríos de Reyu.
Yeah, South Korea was another huge market. And what he said was really interesting is their marketing, because they make the olive oil in smaller bottles. And he said South Koreans love the little bottle.
Yeah, it's also like a present.
Yeah.
I will say that we do have good taste because the Masia el Altet has won 600 plus prizes. So between Castillo de Canena,
Wow.
Señoríos de Reyu, and Masia el Altet, those are 3 of the best olive oils in Spain. And we didn't set out to go and find the
No.
3 best olive oils in
No,
Spain.
this is how we look for things. In all honesty, we put in something on the, in Google and see what's closest to us.
Exactly. So
really
we're
how we
very,
find
very
these.
lucky in that way. So that's it for our little exploration on olive oil. And
Yeah.
next we're going to go to our slice of life. Slice of life.
Slice of life. So we just want to do a quick mention that Señoríos de Reyu.
Yeah.
Okay, close enough. Close enough. They also have these really cute little, I don't know, it's almost like a little lip gloss.
Yeah.
Little tube of olive oil. And it's very clever because you can, it's a little souvenir. You could buy it in the gift shop. But I think it's also really good for, I don't know, travel, a picnic, just to put in a gift basket. But they have their coupage in medium. I think they had medium when we went. So this was just a really cute thing. We want to do a really big shout out to a Valencian designer. And this is her t-shirt. We'll hold this up. I hope we can see it. This is by Nelly Castro. She is a Valencian-based premium stationery illustration and gift brand. So she has hand-painted cards, notebooks, mugs, totes, and they're all designed by her. It's sold across Europe since 2003. She has a studio/store in Valencia. The cups are hers as well, these cups here, which are really, really cute. And she has all of this lovely little merchandise. And I always find it so interesting that stores such as these have, she's been around over 10 years in this little studio in Valencia, and her stuff is sold across Europe. And you think, oh, well, what a difficult space to be in. But because she these are her design. They're
her paintings.
Art.
Yeah.
She said when people come for a tour or they're visiting Valencia, the thing that they ask her the most is that, oh, can you do a picture, like a painting of, the three of us or the two of us, especially on a girls' trip. She said, because it's so time consuming and then to have to send it out and et cetera, it's difficult. So what she tries to do is kind of capture, I guess, the female spirit, all different, women and colors and hair and styles.
And also Nalini's dog is featured in all of this stationery.
She has a dog it looks exactly like my little dog, but it's really, really cute. So yeah, I thought that was a nice collaboration that we had, and it was very kind of her to reach out.
Yeah, we're all about female empowerment, and I think Nelly's built something very special.
Very special. And again, local.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So next we're going to move on to an email from one of our listeners, which, by the way, we just want to reinforce. Thank you for taking the time to write to us. It always makes our day when we get something that is like genuine from the listeners. And we just encourage you, keep writing. What do you like? What do you don't like? What questions do you have? Because we love listening from you or hearing from you. So this is from Jess from Jessica from Yorkshire.
Yes.
Yorkshire. I learned it's not Yorkshire, but Yorkshire.
Well, I would say Yorkshire, but I've been corrected. It's Yorkshire, I think.
So she told us in her email, my son is autistic and I know how thoughtful you are about sensory needs on your adventures. And just to pause, because my daughter is also on the spectrum, I do know quite a bit about this. And she said, AENA airports in Spain no longer recognize the sunflower lanyard for neurodivergent travelers. They've brought in a new recognition system. Have you come across how it works? I used to live in Madrid and love giggling along with you, my new Spanish besties.
Oh,
Yay!
thank you, Jess.
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to mention on this, if you are traveling with neurodivergent adults or kids, or even with people with other disabilities, Spain has a really fantastic system. Again, we haven't been paid to say this or anything like that, for also disabilities, but also invisible disabilities. The most important thing is you have to give them a heads up.
Right.
So before 48 hours of traveling, you go on the website that will include in the episode notes. You mention, hey, I have this family member or I have a disability. I will be needing assistance. It is free.
Yes.
And what you do is when you show up, you go to the specific meeting point and they'll escort you through security. Usually there's a separate security line. They help you on the plane. So I have to say, with as much as this country sometimes is not great about bureaucracy, they really do a fantastic job. So I do think it's worth like preparing yourself for a trip when you're traveling with a disability or with someone with a disability, and make sure you sign up on the website.
And it's also, from what I read, you only need one per like group.
Family.
Yeah. So if you have one person who needs that application, I think you travel together with them. They don't separate you. They're not separating you.
No, and it just makes travel a lot easier.
Yes.
I remember going to Alicante with my daughter, and I was surprised at how well organized it was. And then we were met off the plane in Barcelona. So, we even got to drive in the little buggy, which I was really excited about.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wow. It's like, oh, this is actually really well organized. So it's a nice surprise. But if you're traveling to Spain from outside, and you may not have this assistance at your airport, but you can also do it for the airport of destination.
Yes. Yeah. I know when I had my injury, I had a fracture and I couldn't walk. So it was the same thing. They put you in the wheelchair, you have your meeting point, and they take your whole family through. And my son said, he's like, you're like Paddington Bear. They put a tag on you and they put you and they say, oh, you stay here.
Right here.
Yeah, you stay here because we pick you up to put you on the plane. So it was really, it was not a good experience, but they made the travel part a really great experience.
Yeah, and my experience as well is that they're super friendly.
They're really nice.
Don't make you feel like awkward. About being in
they
that
have
situation.
a different
outfit.
like a different. Yeah, it's actually a fantastic service.
Yeah, it is. So shout out to Aina. So thank you very much for being with us today. We're going to get to our saying of the day or sentence of the day. Okay, Nalini, are you ready?
Yeah.
Deep breath. Okay. El aceite de oliva todo mal quita.
The oil from the olive is the gift of life.
Almost. So olive oil cures every ill.
Okay.
So it's Instituto Cervantes actually names this a real, I was going to say real, my Spanish coming out, a real refrán. It is, kind of cool if you tie it back to the story of Hugo's dad, trying to find something that would cure something out of the oleo perin. So el aceite de oliva todo mal quita.
It's perfect and also very fitting because Spanish women live the longest in all of Europe. So there has to be truth to that.
Yep, absolutely. We look forward to seeing from you, and please make sure you follow along and subscribe. And until the next episode.
Yeah, bye for now.
Bye.